The man in the bathroom, preparing to kill himself. Just at this point, his dog came in.
Hungry?
Open the closet, and there are only 2 cans left. Let the dog choose one. Open a can yourself. If you can open a can yourself, I'd be dead by now. Looking at the mess in the kitchen, he had to look up and drink. This is in 2019, a British skit that went viral across the web. 25 minutes later, life cured a lot of desperate people. If you lose hope in life, I highly recommend that you look at it. This is the hero, the middle-aged Uncle Owen. His favorite wife died a few months ago. Life is hopeless, and wanted to die. His wife is very gentle. Owen often plays tricks on her. Sleep was roused by the loudspeaker, but every time a wife is gentle, he really surprised his wife that day. It's a dog. Owen took his wife to sleep, put it quietly on her bed, tell the dog to wake her up. The wife was overjoyed when she saw it. They don't have kids. This dog has become their spiritual sustenance. Even before his wife's death, he's still on his side. Take good care of their dog. Since his wife's death, Owen had a bad temper. The neighbor greeted him. He would have scolded her. Park rangers, passers-by remind him that you should tie the leash. You can't read. The park belongs to everyone. What? He's the one who's fat and hairy, and a busybody. Sometimes he's brave, bullying passers-by in the face of robbers. He wouldn't hesitate, and almost shot the guy in the back seat. See the falling hammer? He picked it up. To be content in one's arms. Owen goes to see them every day. Father of Alzheimer's disease. He doesn't understand how a nurse can. So careful for the old people to apply hand cream. Combing your hair day after day. He said it must be hard to live like this. If the father was a dog, he would have chosen to be euthanized. His words stimulated the nurse. Was severely scolded by the caretaker. But then my father woke up.
You're my boy.
In spite of his father's confusion, but it's still in my head. Memories of his childhood. His father still remembered Owen when he was 7. Scrawling around the house made my mother angry. Dad was still thinking about tomorrow. He was watching the show that day. Text from the nursing home nurse. Bring up the cell phone. The nurse told him, my father is dead. Very serene. Walking in my sleep. Maybe the father heard what he said. At my father's funeral, he was very upset, because the only family in the world, only the dog is left. Owen came to the beach, and was ready to kill himself. Suicide. This time he was ready, but the dog seems to feel it. His intentions, screaming and screaming on the shore. Look at the man in the sea. The dog ran to his master at all costs. All right, and it managed to save the man. The man's name is Owen. His wife died of cancer a few months ago. From then on, he became listless, and the dog was the love of his wife. Even in the pre-death video, he was told to take good care of that dog. Watching the wife in the video, he'll only miss her more. To ease the pain, he decided to be an asshole, and let himself go. The postman came to deliver the letter. He can take it, and you have to get the mailman in the door. The postman was just about to lose his temper. He's going to file a complaint. Even the children of the kindergarten, he wouldn't let it go.
I'm not a pedo, and if I was, you'd be safe, you tubby little ginger cunt.
His brother-in-law comes to see him every day. Let's hope he pulls it together. And occasionally he'd let the kids come over. This day Owen wants to order 2 children's meals, but the defendant's adult can't order it. Children's package. Owen said his nephew could eat 2 servings. When the package comes up, in front of the boss and the waiter, you don't want to eat it with your face down. A man who wants to die. You can't have a face. There was a robbery. Owen, who was once a coward, face to face. Money won't kill you. And the boy started to do it, but he was overpowered by Owen. I passed the kindergarten that day, saw his nephew moping. Turns out someone bullied him a lot. Owen called the boy straight over from the robbers, picked up a hammer, finally came in handy. I'm a lunatic who escaped from a mental hospital. You pick on George or anyone else, I'm coming to your house while you're sleeping. Get rid of you with this hammer. Do you understand? He finally did it. We always wanted to do it. That you're afraid to do, but right away, he was called to him by his brother-in-law. Gave him a piece of his mind. He was just trying to be helpful. I didn't expect it, but it's not understood. That day he saw his brother-in-law. The messenger is being paid, but everyone knows he won't. I threw the newspaper in the trash, then go and buy something else. Owen had a sudden idea. Let him come to his house at night. Here comes the man at night. Rolled one for him. Owen took a deep breath. To watch a man. Stole his own money, but the body can't move. He fell down on the sofa. The trance wife is back. This has been the happiest time in a long time. The next day Owen found another man. Turns out men are like Owen. And I lost my wife. His wife died from an overdose. A man's heart is dead. If he saves enough money, you're gonna buy a lot of them. Following in his wife's footsteps, Owen decided to satisfy him. Take out a wad of money and hand it to him. The man made up his mind to buy something. Go back to your old garage, and said goodbye to the world that made him miserable. Owen looked at it a few days later. The man turned into a wisp of smoke. He doesn't know. Is it right to do Owen's 3rd suicide? Watching the video from his wife. Tell him to remember to turn off the gas. Don't get drunk. Watch and watch. He covered his face and began to cry. He still misses his wife. The dog came over at the sound. Look at the sleeping pills in your hand, and look at his wife. He still unscrewed the bottle. Look at the pills in your hand. The dog looks and felt his intention. While hesitating, the doorbell rang. It's brother-in-law. He's still worried about Owen. Be sure to take him out for a drink. But irascible Owen, listening to the food on the back, can get upset. Take him to yoga. Listen to the teacher take a sip of water, the sound of tea, and scold the teacher a lot. He treats life with acrimony. Treat everyone. The bad news of the day came. Their newspaper building to be sold. Everyone will be out of work. The new girl complained to Owen. Mom's disabled. Dad can't work. My brothers and sisters are all at school. The whole family depends on her salary. Out of kindness, Owen comforted her. The building will not be sold. But the girl took it seriously, thinking of all the usual care for him. Owen felt he should do something. Owen offered to talk to the owner of the building. And finally, by moving the emotions, managed to convince the other side. Give the paper another year. He's gonna come out and interview us. The interview was with an old man. His news is for 5 years. Birthday of the year. All received the same birthday card. Owen is very impatient. Didn't think it was anything. A story worth reporting. Until the old man says, my Denise will be amused by this. She was my wife who died last year. The light in my life is gone. I'll tell her everything that happens. Owen's original deadpan heart. Suddenly there were all kinds of waves. So this old dodo guy, and lost the most important person in his life. Lost the light of life. So he pulled his temper. Listen quietly. The story of the old man and his wife. Even though it's not in the play. But guess what? Birthday card. Must have been the wife. It was specially arranged for him. Because I was worried about myself. Can't spend the rest of his life with him. To use this kind of euphemism. To keep him company. And that reminded Owen once again. The wife before she died. In the video, the sick-faced wife smiled faintly. Use a casual tone of voice. Read Irwin. Teach him how to deal with the housework. Tell him to live a good life. Even though they say companionship is the longest confession. But on his deathbed, still put another person's future. Put it first. It's really moving. Before leaving, Tony looks like he's finally back. The social etiquette that adults should have. Said a happy birthday to the old man. Back home Owen started ironing his clothes. Summon up the courage to die. There's a lot of laughs and tears in later life. Like the friends recommended to see the original film. Okay, I'll see you next time.